Hello everyone, welcome back to Kids at the Grove. Today we are going to learn what it's like to trust God. And that will be our Bible point for today. Whenever I say we can trust God, I want you to put your hands just like this, pointing towards the sky, and shout, "Trust God." So let's all do that together. We can trust God.
Trust God.
Awesome, great job. God is always at work. He has a plan for my life, and He has a plan for your life, and it's a really good one. So let's all stand up, sing a song, and celebrate that you and I can trust God.
Everything He does, He keeps His promises, we know because, yeah, the word of the Lord holds true. We can trust Him, we can trust Him, yeah, the word of the Lord holds true. We can trust Him, we can trust Him, yeah. Thing we can count on, it's God will never let us down, and we can trust everything He does. He keeps His promises, we know because, yeah, the word of the Lord holds true. We can trust Him, we can trust Him, yeah, the word of the Lord holds true. We can trust Him, we can trust Him.
Everybody, we have a new Bible buddy to learn about this month. His name is Ray. He is a giant manta ray. I wonder how much you know about manta rays. I'm going to ask you a trivia question. Why do you think manta rays have to keep moving all of the time? Is it so that they don't fall asleep, or so that they can keep breathing? Give your best guess now. If you answered that giant manta rays have to keep moving so that they can keep breathing, you were right. Let's learn more about our buddy Ray now.
Take a look under the big blue and you'll see me. I'm Ray, and I'm a giant manta ray. We're one of the coolest creations God made because we sort of fly. Not through air, but through the water. Like I said, I'm a giant manta ray, and I really live up to my name. Giant mantas can grow to about 30 feet across. That's bigger than 4 grown-ups lying down in a line. You won't see us hold still very long. We keep moving through the water all the time. Maybe some of you like to keep moving too. Moving keeps me breathing. The water slides over my gills and gives me the oxygen I need to stay alive. In the Bible, a man named Abram kept moving too. He moved because God told him to. God made a promise to Abram. God said Abram would have a big family, as many grandkids as there are stars in the sky. Now that's a big family. Abram trusted and believed God's plan for his life. You can trust God too. In the Bible book of Psalms, chapter 33, verse 4, it says, "For the word of the Lord holds true, and we can trust everything He does." We can trust God. He's way bigger than me. Sometimes you may feel like you're just floating around without a plan. You might worry about what will happen next in your life. You can trust that God will guide you and give you what you need to keep going. And when you aren't sure whether to choose this or that, talk to God. And when you move to new places, God promises to always be with you. You can simply glide along because He'll carry you through. We can trust God.
Trust God.
Remember, everyone, that the Bible is God's true story of love for us. We're going to challenge you to remember another Bible verse this month. The verse is from Psalm 33, verse 4. If you pick up your craft kit from church for this month's activities, you'll find the sticker inside to help you learn it again. You can practice now by repeating after me. It goes, "For the word of the Lord holds true, and we can trust everything He does." Keep practicing that, and don't forget to send us the video once you memorize it. Remember, everyone, we can trust God.
Trust God.
What He says is true.
Before we start a Bible story for today, I have a simple activity for you. So I want you to grab a piece of paper and some markers. Go ahead and do that now. What I have here on this clipboard is a picture that I want you to draw. I'll be giving you directions as to what to draw, but you won't know what you're drawing until you finish the picture. So let's go ahead and start. On your paper, I want you to put your pen by the top area of your paper. Now, I want you to draw a line going diagonal to the left side of your paper. Once you've got that, I want you to draw another diagonal line going to the right side of your paper. And then, now I want you to draw a horizontal line from the right side of your paper to the left side of your paper. Now, from that horizontal line, I want you to draw another diagonal line going from the left side to the bottom right side of your paper. And last, I want you to connect the line from the very first point where you started and where you just finished. If you are able to understand my instructions, you have been able to draw a star, just like that. That might have been difficult for you to do, so let's try another one. I want you to grab another piece of paper, and you can use a different colored marker if you'd like to. For this next drawing, I want you to start in the middle of your paper. I want you to draw a medium-sized circle. From that medium-sized circle, I want you to draw a much bigger circle on the bottom of that circle. And from your middle circle, I want you to draw a smaller circle at the top. Did you get that? Once you've gotten all those three circles, from the smallest circle, I want you to draw a horizontal line from the top. And then from the top of that horizontal line, I want you to draw a rectangle. So go ahead and do that. Inside the small circle, I want you to draw a triangle in the center of that circle. And on the top part of that triangle, I want you to draw 2 dots. Let's place 2 dots on it. And at the bottom of that small circle, I want you to draw a semicircle. On your center circle, which is the middle one, I want you to draw 3 dots that go from top to the bottom. And last, on each side of that center circle, I want you to draw 2 diagonal lines. If you are able to understand my instructions and my directions, you would have been able to draw a snowman, just like this. So I want you to pause the video and answer this question with the people watching with you. What was it like to follow instructions when you didn't know what the big picture was? Go ahead and pause the video. We can trust God.
Trust God.
But it's hard to trust God when we don't see the bigger picture. In today's Bible story, we are going to learn about a man who trusted God even if he didn't fully understand.
Hey guys, what's up? If you don't know me, my name is Tim, and today we're going to learn all about a guy named Abram. And Abram was a guy who trusted God even when he didn't really understand exactly what God was doing in his life. And look, there's Abram right now. Everybody, let's wave to Abram. And as you hear the story, I want you guys to do everything that Abram does. Got it? All right, let's go. Abram was getting up in the years, so he was getting a bit older, so his back was kind of hunched like this, and he had to squint a bit like this so he could see things. The thing is, we also know that Abram was a very rich man, and we know that because he had a lot of sheep. And I mean a lot of sheep. I want you guys to baa like a sheep, make a sheep noise like this. Baa, baa, something like that. Now one day, God told Abram to pack up and leave everything behind and go to a land where he would show him. And I'm going to read a story in the Bible, in Genesis, that's the first book of the Bible, and it's going to be in Genesis chapter 12. So let's all read that together. It goes like this. The Lord had said to Abram, "Leave your native country, your relatives, and your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you, and curse those who treat you with contempt. And all the families on earth will be blessed through you." And that sounded great. God said that he was going to bless Abram. So that means that he liked Abram and he had a special plan for his life. And the thing is, God loves all of us too. He likes all of us too. And he has a special plan for our lives. And I think that's awesome. So I want you guys to just pat yourself on the back because of the fact that God has a special blessing for your life. Back to Abram. So Abram trusted God. So what happened next is that he started to pack all his things for his journey. So he packed his clothes, his sandals, his underwear. But he couldn't just throw that all in. He had to fold that first, right? So he folded all that stuff, and he also brought his tools and supplies. He brought his toothbrush. He brought his favorite bowling trophies. Well, I don't know if there were any bowling trophies back then, or bowling anyway, but let's just say he did. And his family, and his sheep. Well, you know what? That would be kind of silly, because sheep can walk. And plus, he has so much sheep, he couldn't even fit that in a suitcase, right? So he packed all that stuff, besides the sheep, put it in a suitcase, and he was about ready to head out. So Abram and his family were walking, his sheep were walking, and boy, did they walk. But the thing is, they had a lot of stuff on them, so it was difficult. So they had to trudge like this, holding all their suitcases and all their baggage. I want you guys to trudge to the left like this. You're walking and walking over mountains and hills. And I want you guys to trudge this way. It's a hard, difficult journey, but they went and they went and they went. And don't forget, the sheep were there too, walking with them. So I want you guys to baa like this, baa like this to the left. And I want you guys to baa like this to the right. And they keep on walking and walking. And Abram has no idea what's going on. He's tired, but he trusted God. He trusted God that was leading him, and he followed. And his family and the sheep followed too. And they were following, but the thing is, they were tired. They had all this stuff. They've been walking for days, and they were exhausted. So I want you guys just to pretend like you're an exhausted sheep and just give your most tired baa, like baa, baa, like this. That's how tired they are. They're about to collapse and fall on the floor. And I'm getting tired just thinking about it. Just imagine what they were going through. At last, Abram stopped. The sheep stopped. His family stopped. They took a break, and they sat down and set up camp. And let's see what happens next. To go back to Genesis chapter 12, and now we're going to go a bit ahead, all the way to verse 6. Abram traveled through the land as far as Shechem. There he set up camp beside the oak of Moreh. At that time, the area was inhabited by Canaanites. So there in the land of Canaan, Abram, his wife, his nephew, his family, all the sheep, they were resting. They were just taking a break from all that walking, all that trudging, and they were fast asleep. And they were snoring. I want you guys to pretend you're asleep and make your best snore, your biggest, loudest snore like. But then God appeared out of nowhere. And no more snoring because God had a message for Abram. So let's see what God said. Then the Lord appeared to Abram and said, I will give this land to your descendants. And Abram built an altar there and dedicated it to the Lord who had appeared to him. So Abram's trust in God had paid off. God promised Abram that he was going to give him and this family this land someday. And that made Abram so happy that he just decided to build a great altar to God, to thank God. But their dream wasn't over yet. They had to keep on walking and marching, so I want you guys to do the same thing, okay? I want you guys to march like this. In place. Let's march. 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 Knees high up. Knees high up. Good, good. God had promised Abram that he was going to make a great nation out of Abram. But the thing is, that happened years ago. And Abram still didn't have any kids. So, even though Abram wasn't really sure what God was doing, didn't know what to expect, he still trusted God. Sometime later, God spoke to Abram again. Now let's hear what he had to say. Now we're going to be reading from Genesis chapter 15. All right, let's read. Sometime later, the Lord spoke to Abram in a vision and said to him, Do not be afraid, Abram, for I will protect you, and your reward will be great. But Abram replied, O sovereign Lord, what good are all your blessings when I don't even have a son? Since you've given me no children, Eliezer of Damascus, a servant of my household, will inherit all my wealth. You've given me no descendants of my own, so one of my servants will be my heir. All right, so it looks like Abram still didn't really understand or trust God, did he? But here's what happened next. God told Abram to look at the stars. Now, I want you guys to put on your best jazz hands like this, and we're going to pretend that these hands are stars twinkling in the sky, okay? So if you don't know how to do jazz hands, put your hands up like this. Just give them a little bit like this. Jazz hands. Jazz hands. And these are all the stars in the sky. And so God said to Abram, look up at those stars. I want you to try and count all these stars, these trillions and billions of stars, and that's how many descendants you are going to have. So Abram tried to count the stars in the sky. He couldn't because there were so many, but he was just so excited. He was so happy. He saw those glittering stars, and he was like, that's how many descendants I'm going to have. I'm going to have a nation. I can trust God. I can believe God. And the awesome thing is, we can trust God too. Trust God. All right, guys, let's give ourselves a hand for all that marching, all that trudging that we had to do, all that buying too. All right, guys, now we know about the fact that we can trust God, that we can trust who God is, and that God's going to do what he says he's going to do, because he has a plan for each and every one of our lives. So now that we know that we can trust him, I want you guys to talk in your cruise. Now, I want you guys to think about this question and talk about this question. And the question is, what's something in your life that you're trusting God with right now? Remember the drawing activity from earlier? So in that activity, the big picture was clear right away. And with Abram, even though he didn't really understand what was going on or what was happening, he trusted the big picture. So God didn't give Abram exactly what he wanted and when he wanted it. But God was still faithful to his plan. He promised that Abram would have a family and that he'd have a land and he'd be the start of a nation, he'd have many descendants. And God was faithful to that plan, and he came through and he answered Abram's prayer. And we can trust God in the exact same way. We can trust God that he's there for us, that he loves us, and that he'll always protect us. And through Jesus' sacrifice on the cross and his resurrection, we can trust that we can be with God in heaven forever. Those things are pretty amazing. We can trust God.
Trust God.
And his promises.
For today's Explore More, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen, pencil, or marker. Go grab those now. Today we're going to be making a genealogy. A genealogy is a list of all the generations in a family. You can find the genealogy of Jesus in the Bible in Matthew chapter 1. And guess who it starts with? It starts with Abraham. And it shows you all of the generations all the way to Jesus. Abraham didn't know it at the time, but God had a plan to bless his family and to bless the whole world through Jesus. Now it's time to make yours. Take your paper, and along the bottom, you should write your names and the names of any brothers or sisters you have. I made one for my boys, so I've got their names along the bottom. Once you've done that, draw a line connecting the siblings. If you have 3, you could draw a line down here, or 4, or 5. And on top of that, write your parents' names. The next thing you're going to do is draw a line from each of your parents and write down your grandparents' names. So we've got your name and your siblings' names, your parents' names, and then your grandparents' names. Once you've done your genealogy, I want you to answer this question. How has Jesus blessed your family? Answer that now. God has a plan for Abram's family, and he has a plan for your family too. We can trust God.
Trust God.
Okay, what's up guys? It's Ronald here. Welcome back to Games Time. Woo! Okay, so today we're playing games. You guys know how to play Simon Says, right? Well, today we're playing a version of that, but it's a little bit different. You know the usual Simon Says, do this, and then you do the action. Well, I have 2 other characters that I'll be naming, and they have specific rules, so pay close attention, okay? Ray says, so when I say, Ray says, do this action, you have to do it like a manta ray. So you gotta stretch out your arms, and then do the action, just like a giant manta. Ray says, raise up your legs. So you gotta raise up your leg, you also gotta stretch up your arms. Alright? The next character I have is Savannah. So when I say Savannah says, you have to do the opposite of what I tell you to do. So for example, I say, Savannah says, raise up your left arm, do the opposite. You raise up your right arm. Alright? Here we go. Are you ready? Simon says, clap your hands. Woo! And Simon says, stop. Simon says, rub your belly. And stop. Ha! Did I get you? I did say Simon Says. So if you stop, you don't get a point. So make sure you keep track of your points, alright? Simon Says stop. Stop first. Savannah says kick up your right leg.
Hiya!
Ah, I said Savannah, so you're supposed to do the opposite. That's how I kick your left leg. Ray says turn around. Ta-da! Oh, I said Ray's name, so you gotta stretch out your arms. Stretch them out while you're doing it. And Ray says play the guitar. You gotta do it really fast. Now stop. Ah, I didn't say anything, so we gotta keep playing. Savannah says don't play the drums. Now you gotta play the drums. Savannah says touch your right ear. Oh, should have touched your left ear. Alright, Ray says wave your hands. Oh, so wide, like a man. Ray. Simon says stop everything. There you go. We can believe and trust what God says. We can trust God.
Trust God.
Alright, I hope you guys had fun. I'll see you guys next time.
Hi everyone! Today we learned about a promise God made to a man named Abram. He promised Abram that he would have as many family members as there are stars in the sky. That's a really big family. We can trust God
Trust
to keep
God.
His promises. So my question for all of you is, if you could name a star anything, what would you name it? I think, for me, I'd name a star banjo, because banjos are a really cool instrument. So we'll get started with today's craft, which is craft stick stars. What you're going to need are 5 popsicle sticks like this, some markers for decoration, some rubber bands, some glue dots if you have some, but if you don't, you can always use a regular glue stick or a glue gun with the help of a parent. So our first step to making these craft stick stars is taking 2 popsicle sticks. I've already customized mine, which you can do later or you can do now. But first what you want to do is put them together like this to make a V shape. Now that I've grabbed my glue dot, I can connect my 2 popsicle sticks together. So now that we've got our first V shape, we're going to take another popsicle stick and glue it across one corner of the other popsicle stick to make the shape that looks like this. And now we're going to repeat the same step with our last 2 popsicle sticks. Ta-da! We've just made a cool craft stick star. Super easy and super fun.
Our Bible memory buddy Ray reminds us that you and I can trust God.
Trust God.
As Christine said earlier, in your kits you will be receiving your Ray stickers, which will help remind you of the Bible memory buddy and also help you to memorize our Bible memory verse. Did you know that Jesus would eventually come from Abram's family? In Genesis chapter 12, verse 3, God told Abram that all the families on earth would be blessed by him. And that came true when Jesus came here to earth. I'd like to read you something about our friend Jesus. And as I'm reading to you, I want you to put your hand on your chin just like this, like you're thinking really hard. So go ahead and do that now as I read something about our friend Jesus. We can trust God even when we don't understand. There's a lot kids don't understand. That's why there's school, and soccer practice, and online videos. Well, here's a secret. There's at least as much that adults don't understand. They're just better at hiding it. Adults like to feel smart and in control, even when they aren't. You don't believe it? Ask an adult to explain time to you. or give you a really good explanation about how brains work, and you'll see. Here's another secret. God actually does understand all of this stuff because He made it. All of it. You can trust God when things you don't understand show up in your life, or when people you love are in trouble, or when you feel like nobody loves you, or when something scary is knocking at your door. In those moments, trust God. He understands and He loves you too. That means He'll walk with you through anything, even those things you don't understand. Thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope that you learned a lot of things about God and that you had a lot of fun with the different activities that we had for you. Remember to memorize your memory verses and send us a video so that we can show it to all our other friends here at Cedar Grove. We'll see you all once again next week. Bye!